Virgo, have you ever felt like something big was coming, but no one else around you could sense it? Have you ever wondered why all the signs seem to point to one specific day, like the universe is trying to wake you up? And if that day is June 21st, would you be ready to walk through a door your soul chose lifetimes ago? June 21st isn't just a date. It's the summer solstice, the longest day of the year. A moment when the sun doesn't just rise, it exposes everything. For thousands of years, mystics believed this day opens a sacred portal, pulling buried truths into the light. And this year, Virgo, the spotlight is directly on you. That strange pressure you've been feeling, the loose ends, the inner urgency, the emotional waves, none of it's random. You're not falling apart. You're aligning. And here's the thing, this energy doesn't wait. It doesn't tap politely and ask if you have time. It bursts in like sunlight through a curtain you forgot to close. It shows you what's real and what's performative, who you are and who you've been pretending to be. You can ignore it. You can try to keep everything in its place, but you'll feel the weight of resistance. Or you can walk through the door. Let the light reveal. Let the old you fall away. Let the new vision begin. So, Virgo, the question isn't whether something big is coming. It's already here. The only question is, will you meet the light, or will you run from it? Let's get real for a second. You remember when you were younger, Virgo, how you thought that if you just worked hard, stayed organized, kept your promises, things would fall into place. But life doesn't always reward logic. Sometimes it's the irrational choices, the brave, heart-led leaps that shift the whole game. That's the energy of the solstice. It's not asking you to plan. It's asking you to trust. And that's not easy for you. Think about the last time you felt proud, not because of what you achieved, but because of what you released. Maybe it was a grudge. Maybe it was an identity that no longer fit. June 21st brings that kind of moment again. A sacred reset, a timeline shift. You might find yourself waking up that morning and just knowing it's time to say yes to something, or no for the last time. This isn't about fear, it's about freedom. And while the world might cheer for your outer success, only you will know whether what you're building aligns with who you truly are inside. Let this be the day you choose alignment over achievement, peace over performance, clarity over control. Write it down, light a candle, go for a walk alone. Whatever it takes, mark this day. Because once the solstice sun sets, you'll never see your life the same way again. And that's not a threat, that's a promise. You're ready. Even if you don't feel it yet, your soul does. Virgo, have you noticed the little things lately? The tiny flickers of déjà vu, the repeating numbers that show up at the exact moment you're second-guessing yourself, like 3:33 when you glance at the clock, or 4:44 when you get a random notification. That's not just coincidence. That's a pattern, a whisper from your soul trying to cut through the noise. And it's getting louder as we approach June 21st. One of the clearest signs that your spirit is trying to get your attention is through dreams. Not just random ones, but the kind that feel sticky, like you're carrying them when you wake up. Maybe there's someone who keeps showing up, a place you've never been but feels oddly familiar, or a scene that repeats, always a little different, but it leaves you emotional for hours after. That's not imagination. That's activation. Then there's the physical signs. Virgo, you know your body better than anyone. You notice the tiniest shifts when your energy is off, when your sleep is light but your dreams are heavy. Maybe you've felt it lately, waking up at the same strange hour every night, or getting chills when no one's around. Some Virgos have even reported hearing whispers just before falling asleep or feeling like they're being watched, but not in a scary way. More like something or someone is keeping watch. That's your intuition waking up, your higher self knocking. And let's talk about emotions. If you've been randomly emotional, crying out of nowhere, overwhelmed by beauty, or feeling the urge to call someone from your past, you're not being irrational. You're being tuned in. As June 21st approaches, your spiritual sensitivity increases. This is the universe preparing you for a breakthrough, and it needs you emotionally present to receive it. These signs are not just quirks, they are guidance systems. Think of them as energetic GPS signals from your soul. The more you ignore them, the more persistent they become. But when you acknowledge them, write them down, talk about them, meditate on them, you align. You allow the message to become clear. You shift from confusion to confirmation. And here's the secret: these signals often come right before something big shifts. A job offer, a person returning, a truth being revealed. Your task, Virgo, is to stay open without demanding proof, to feel instead of dissect, to let the mystery speak before you try to explain it away. So when your phone lights up at 3:33, or a song that reminds you of a person you haven't thought of in years starts playing out of nowhere, pause. Ask, what is the universe showing me right now? Don't brush it off. That's your invitation. Because the truth is, Virgo, you are not imagining this. You're awakening. And June 21st is the tipping point. These signals are breadcrumbs leading you towards something you already know deep down. It's time to remember who you are and why you're really here. Think back to a moment when you knew something without knowing how. Maybe you didn't take that route home and later found out there was an accident. Or you had a gut feeling about someone good or bad, and it turned out to be spot on. That's not luck. That's your inner radar. Virgo, your intuition is precise like a compass, but you've been trained to second guess it. This solstice is here to remind you that your inner knowing is not a backup plan, it's the main signal. Start paying attention to when your body reacts before your brain does. A flutter in your stomach, a sudden headache, tingling in your hands when you speak to someone. These aren't random. They're energetic data, your spirit communicating through sensation. And the more you honor that language, the more fluent you become. Even technology can't ignore this field. How often have you thought of someone and they texted you minutes later? Or opened your phone to find a message that mirrors the exact thing you were just struggling with? Algorithms can't explain that, but your energy can. You're plugged into something deeper, a frequency that Virgo has a unique gift to interpret. So don't ignore the goosebumps. Don't dismiss the weird synchronicities. These are not background noise, they're instructions. This June 21st, when the sun reaches its peak, your clarity will too, but only if you allow space for it. That means less scrolling, more stillness, less external advice, more inner listening, because the answers they've been whispering all along. You just needed to remember how to hear them. Virgo, there are moments in life when time bends, when something or someone you thought was gone for good suddenly reappears, not to repeat the past, but to finish what was left undone. As we move closer to June 21st, the energy around you is calling something back into your orbit. Not by accident, not for drama, but for closure or rebirth. Have you been dreaming of someone lately? A face you haven't seen in years? Maybe you wake up with their name on your lips, or a wave of emotion hits you when a song plays that you used to share. Maybe it's someone with the initial J or L. Maybe it's not even romantic. It could be a mentor, a friend, someone who once played a key role in your life journey. These aren't just memories resurfacing. They're invitations from the universe. You see, Virgo, karma isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a whisper, a sudden urge to check in, a strange synchronicity like opening a box and finding their old letter, or hearing from a mutual friend just when you were thinking about them. The universe moves in loops, not lines. And when something returns during a solstice portal, it's because there's energy still open, a loop that wants to close or begin again. But here's the part that matters. Just because something comes back doesn't mean it's meant to stay. It means it's meant to be faced, to be seen clearly, with wiser eyes. You've changed, Virgo. You're not who you were when you first knew them. You've healed, grown, learned hard lessons. So if they return, don't fall into the old rhythm blindly. Pause, observe, feel. Ask yourself, why now? What does this bring up in me? Is it longing, regret, anger, or peace? Because sometimes the person returns not for reunion, but as a mirror, to show you how far you've come, or to reflect the part of you that still needs closure. This could be the moment where you forgive them, or forgive yourself, where you finally say the thing you never got to say, where you release the fantasy and accept the truth, or, in some rare and powerful cases, where the bond rekindles but this time on equal ground. You don't need to chase this. If it's meant, it will appear, and if it does, you'll know. The air will feel different, time will slow down, and your heart will respond before your mind can catch up. So Virgo, prepare not with scripts or defenses, but with honesty. Be willing to see clearly, be brave enough to feel fully, and if a message arrives, or a name reappears, or a door swings open on its own, know that you're not going backward. You're stepping into alignment. Karma isn't punishing you. It's offering you a choice. Close the loop with love or open it with awareness. And maybe you're wondering, what if I'm not ready to face them? What if the pain still feels too fresh? Even after all this time, that's valid, that's real. But the universe doesn't bring these things back to hurt you. It brings them so you can transmute the pain. So you can look it in the eye and say, I lived through you. I learned from you. And now, I release you. Think about the last time you saw this person. What was left unsaid? What truth was buried to keep the peace? Or to protect your pride? This time, Virgo, the energy supports honesty. It supports soul-level clarity. If you have the chance to speak, speak from your heart. If you're meant to listen, do it with open ears and no expectations. You might even receive a sign instead of a message, a photo showing up, a song with their name, a memory you haven't thought about in years flashing back during a quiet moment. That's not nostalgia. That's resonance. That's a thread of your past life weaving back through the now, not to pull you backward, but to bring you full circle. So don't fear the return. Respect it, witness it, and trust that whatever choice you make, it will be the one your soul needs most right now. Because not all returns are about reunion, some are about resolution. Virgo, as we move deeper into the energy of June 21st, the universe isn't just revealing truths from your past, it's placing something new in your path, a rare opportunity. It might come wrapped in the form of a conversation, a proposal, or even a passing thought that feels oddly electric. And here's the thing, it won't look dramatic. In fact, it might seem small at first. But deep inside, you'll feel the shift, the sense that if you say yes, everything could change. This is what we call a fated fork in the road, and it comes with tension. Because the moment something real appears, it also brings the fear of losing what you already have. You might find yourself clinging to comfort, even if that comfort has quietly stopped serving you. Maybe it's a job that pays well but drains your spirit, a relationship that's stable but stagnant, a dream you've been too afraid to chase. The solstice doesn't care about safety, it cares about alignment. So if something arrives and shakes your sense of control, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It might be exactly what your soul's been asking for behind all the busy thinking, but to accept it, Virgo, you'll need to let go of something. Maybe it's a schedule. Maybe it's approval. Maybe it's the belief that everything must be perfect before you leap. Watch closely around June 21st and the days that follow. You might be invited to collaborate on a project you don't feel ready for, or asked to step into a leadership role, or given the chance to move, travel, expand in a way you didn't plan. Your first instinct might be to overanalyze, but the truth is you already know. You feel it in your chest, in your breath, in your gut. This isn't the time to wait until everything makes sense. It's the time to trust that if life brings it now, it's because you're ready now, even if your fear tells you otherwise. So Virgo, the question isn't whether the opportunity is coming. It is. The question is, can you release just enough control to receive it? Let this solstice be the day you say yes to the unknown. Not because it's safe, but because it's real. Think of this moment like a spiritual trade. The universe is offering you a seed, but you can't hold it with clenched fists. Something must be set down so something greater can be picked up. That might be your fear of failure, or the fear of being seen in a new way. And don't worry if your hands shake when you reach out. That's not weakness, it's movement. It means you're alive, and you're growing. You're not supposed to feel certain. You're supposed to feel pulled, called, nudged by something invisible but undeniable. Write it down. Say it out loud. Virgo, if this opportunity opens a door inside you, even if it scares you, it's probably meant for you. So take a breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. And when the moment comes, say yes with your whole being. Virgo, not all hours in a day are created equal. And on June 21st, there is a narrow window of time when the veil thins. When alignment becomes more than a concept, it becomes real. That window is between 4:44 p.m. and 6 p.m. It's precise. It's powerful. And for you, it's personal. This is when the solstice sun begins to descend still high, still golden, but now leaning toward truth. In those 82 minutes, the energy peaks and pivots. If you've been waiting for a sign, a yes, a release, this is the moment to act. Not tomorrow. Not when it's convenient. But right then. So what should you do during this time? It's not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing with full intention. That could be journaling the decision you've been scared to make, speaking the words you've been holding in, lighting a candle and naming what you're ready to release, or sending that message you've written 100 times but never sent. You don't need anyone's permission. You don't need a perfect plan. You need presence, awareness, a willingness to show up for your life in that exact space. Because when you take aligned action in a sacred window, it echoes. It doesn't just change your mood, it shifts your momentum. And Virgo, you're not new to hesitation. You weigh, measure, think twice. But this portal won't wait for you to calculate every outcome. It responds to energy, not perfection. If your heart is clear and your intent is honest, even a small act done during this time can activate a ripple you'll feel for months, even years. So set a reminder, block the time. Don't fill it with noise or other people's demands. Step outside, stand in the sun, touch the earth. Say it out loud, I am choosing my path. Then take one clear action, no matter how small. This isn't magic, it's alignment. It's you, stepping into the current instead of fighting the tide. And if you miss it, don't panic. But know this, windows like this don't come often. And when they do, they're meant to be felt, not feared. So Virgo, When 4:44 arrives, be ready. The sky will still look the same, but you won't be. Not after this. You might feel resistance as that time approaches, a sudden distraction, unexpected call, or even self-doubt creeping in. That's not coincidence. It's energetic friction. The closer you get to alignment, the more the old patterns push back. Expect it. Move through it anyway. Some Virgo souls may feel overwhelmed by the weight of that moment, afraid to mess it up. But truthfully, you can't get it wrong if you show up with presence. Even if you simply breathe deeply, whisper your intention, or write a single word that reflects your truth, that's enough. You may feel a sensation in your chest, a tingling in your hands, or a quiet sense of peace that settles over you. That's the alignment speaking. That's the shift becoming cellular. Trust it. Let it move through you. Afterward, give yourself space. Don't rush back into routine. Let the energy settle. Let the choice you made during that window begin to root. It's not just a moment, it's a seed. And Virgo, you've always known how to nurture what matters. Virgo, you've always had a special relationship with your body, even if you haven't always honored it. You notice the shifts, the patterns, the quiet discomforts before they become loud. You've tuned yourself to the details that others miss. But what happens when your body starts speaking louder than your mind, when fatigue lingers, when rest doesn't restore, when food loses flavor, or emotion shows up as tension in your chest? That's not just physical, that's energetic. And around the solstice, your body becomes more than a vessel, it becomes a messenger. June 21st isn't just about outer breakthroughs, it's also about internal healing. Because if you're going to step into a new timeline, you can't carry old pain in your bones. Your body remembers what your mind has tried to forget. And this is the window where that remembering becomes a release. You may feel it in unusual ways, a sudden craving for lighter food, the urge to stretch more, waking up earlier without an alarm, or needing solitude like oxygen. These aren't quirks, they're instructions. Your body is preparing for an energetic upgrade, but it needs your cooperation. It's time to listen differently, not through fear or panic, but through trust. When your chest tightens around someone's words, pay attention. When your skin gets warm during a conversation, ask yourself what truth is rising. When your stomach flips before you make a decision, don't override it, honor it. This solstice portal gives you a chance to reset your relationship with your own well-being, not with trends or strict routines, but with awareness. Maybe you finally book that acupuncture session. Maybe you return to walking in nature, not for steps, but for clarity. Maybe you start drinking water not because you should, but because you want to feel alive again. And it's not just your body. Your emotions are part of this too. That lump in your throat when someone touches an old wound, that's your energy moving. Let it move. Cry, breathe, shake it out. This is what healing looks like. It's not always quiet and tidy. Sometimes it's messy and real. You don't need to fix yourself. You need to feel yourself. Virgo, your healing doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. It just has to be honest. And the more you trust your inner signals, the more aligned your outer world becomes. So let this solstice be a soft exhale, a sacred pause, a return to the inner compass you've always had, but sometimes ignored. Your body is speaking, your spirit is listening, and now your life is ready to respond. You may even notice that as you care for your body, your intuition sharpens. You start sensing when something is right without needing the facts. You walk into a room and know if it's for you. You meet someone and feel their truth before they speak. That's not magic. That's embodiment. The more grounded you are in your own body, the clearer your spiritual signal becomes. Think of your healing as a reunion, not with who you were, but with who you've always been beneath the noise. This season invites you to reconnect with that grounded, calm, deeply wise version of you, the one who doesn't panic when things shift, who doesn't betray themselves to be accepted, who knows that rest is sacred, not lazy. And here's a simple truth: when your body is well, your decisions are better, your relationships are clearer, your path feels less like a maze and more like a rhythm. That's what this solstice wants to give you, not just insight, but integration. So go slow, be gentle, feed yourself not just to survive, but to feel, move not to burn calories, but to shake loose what's stuck. Rest not because you're exhausted, but because your future needs you whole. You don't owe anyone performance. You owe yourself presence. And Virgo, no one is better at showing up with devotion when you finally decide you're worth the effort. Let this be the cycle where you stop apologizing for your needs and start honoring them as sacred. Virgo, if you've made it this far, something in your soul is already shifting. You're not the same person you were at the beginning of this journey. And that's exactly the point. June 21st wasn't designed to change your life from the outside, and it was meant to flip the script from the inside out. You've faced the shadows. You've felt the tension. You've answered the whispers of your intuition. And now, something within you is quieter, not from exhaustion, but from truth. When you start to align with your deepest self, the noise around you doesn't disappear, it just stops mattering as much. This is the beginning of a new rhythm, one where you no longer wait for life to give you permission, where you stop asking if it's okay to want more. You just want it. You claim it. You move toward it. Not because you're trying to prove anything, but because your inner compass is finally set to your true north. In the days after the solstice, you may feel a strange lightness. Not like everything is solved, but like you've dropped something heavy you didn't realize you were carrying. That's your spirit making space. That's clarity finding a home in your nervous system. You might not see fireworks. You might not get the dramatic sign you were expecting, but don't let the stillness fool you. The most powerful shifts are the quiet ones, the ones that happen so deeply. You only realize them later, when your decisions start changing, your boundaries hold stronger, and your energy no longer leaks where it used to. Virgo, the solstice doesn't mark an ending. It marks a remembering of who you are, of what matters, of what's been waiting for you all along. This is your time to walk differently, to lead yourself forward, not with certainty, but with trust. So don't rush. Let the energy integrate, reflect, breathe, make space. And if you feel called, do something simple but symbolic. Burn a page, write a vow, take a new path on your daily walk. It's not about the act itself. It's about saying to the universe, I'm ready to live from truth, not from fear. You're not starting over. You're arriving. And Virgo, the world has been waiting for the version of you that finally knows you are enough, not when you fix yourself, not when you achieve more, but right now, as you are. Welcome to your next chapter. Step forward with grace. And maybe this is the first time you're not rushing toward a goal. Maybe, for once, you're letting yourself be here, present, awake, unfolding. The mind may still ask questions. Did I do it right? Is this enough? What if I missed the window? But your soul already knows you didn't miss anything. Everything aligned the moment you chose to pay attention. That was the door. That was the sign. And you know what's beautiful? You're no longer chasing closure. You're creating completion. You're not waiting for someone to return to feel whole. You've returned to yourself. So go gently now. Light a candle. Listen to the wind. Open your hands physically, symbolically. Let this be the cycle where you stop asking life for validation and start moving like someone who knows they belong here. Because you do. You always have. And as you move forward, remember this isn't about staying high vibe all the time. It's about being real, being rooted, being ready for the beauty and the mess. Because your light doesn't demand perfection, it thrives in presence. You're here, Virgo, and the universe sees you now fully. And finally, you see yourself.